Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate all y'all. If you're new, thank you for clicking on this video and spending some time with me. This is going to be a trend update, basically a cycle or an update on my cycle, right? If you know, if you've been following along, you know that I've been running trend now for a little while, and I've been giving updates as the cycle's been going on. So this is my basically 2.5 month in update. I have been, like I said, running trend for approximately 2.5 months. The first 2 weeks of that, I was only taking 25 bigs a day. So it was like 175 a week. So, I'm not really even counting that because I didn't really feel too much, like I've said in previous videos. But once I ramped it up to 350 migs a week or 50 migs a day, that's when I definitely, started to notice the effects. Um, hold on, I'm going to be referencing my notes here, so bear with me. I will say this about the lower dose when I did start. I think I became slightly more vascular, maybe a little bit more dense. I'm not really sure, if I experienced any strength gain at that point. If I did, honestly, I think it was more placebo than anything else. But that was just my experience. Maybe you might have something different. But to me, that 175 a week didn't really do much in terms of strength or any kind of neurological benefit. It was just minorly cosmetic. Um, but I will say this: after I bumped that dose to 50 mgs a day, I noticed the strength increase almost immediately. And now, again, I'm not sure if this was like, placebo based, like I was expecting it to happen, or my other theory is that it had already begun to build up in my system, taking those 25 mgs a day, so that when I increased it to 50, I was basically primed, to just receive it and fucking, go after it, basically. Um, you know, Again, the first sign once I increased that dose was the strength increase. It happened like overnight. It was pretty crazy. The second thing I'll note that I did notice was definitely increase in vascularity, especially when I have a pump. Like when I'm doing bicep curls or something like that, I have just like spider web veins basically all over the place. Started to get veins up here too, like I never had before. Um, so very aesthetic, honestly. Um, you do definitely get a unique look from Tren. Um, okay, next thing I want to talk about has been my attitude. Definitely, my attitude has changed. I've definitely had somewhat of the mental side effects. I'm a pretty easygoing person, so it hasn't been like too crazy or negative, but it's there. Um, you know, because I am easygoing, like I just mentioned, I honestly have found that Trent has made me a little bit more assertive and driven in situations where it actually calls for being, assertive and driven. So for me, like that's actually a benefit. However, if you're already kind of like a uptight kind of guy, this probably isn't going to be the right compound for you. Um, so then the next thing, man, the sex drive. It is through the roof. Like it is true what they say. Trend makes you kind of freaky. Like I've been doing stuff that I've never done before. Let's put it that way. And super into it. Obviously with my wife. No gay shit. I did hear trend makes you gay. Definitely not true for me. But the sex drive is real. It's out of control. Sometimes it can be distracting to be honest with you. But nothing wrong with that. It can be frustrating though, right? If your partner's not like up for it or in the mood, like when you're needing to go multiple times a day, like it's not always easy for them to keep up. You know what I mean? So that can be frustrating, but not a big deal. But I will say this, right? You got to be open and honest with your partner, especially if you're in a relationship when you're on this stuff. You should like warn them that your sex drive is about to go crazy, so that they're ready for it. Because if you just start acting crazy and want to have sex all the time out of nowhere without the explanation, I think you're going to be less likely to get the sex. You know what I mean? You're better off being honest. Um, something honestly very notable, and I've said this in other videos, but the sweats, man, the Tren sweats, probably my worst side effect. I sweat like crazy every night, like waking up soaked. I've heard that taking magnesium before bed supposedly helps with the Tren sweats. I do take the magnesium, I supplement with it. However, I really don't think it is that effective, especially when I eat carbohydrates. So this is interesting too. I've been experimenting with this. Generally, I'll like eat a bunch of carbs at night before I go to bed because who doesn't love to do that? But when I do that, the sweats are like the worst. They get real bad. I actually experimented last night. I ate nothing, 2 hours before bed, supplemented with the magnesium, and the sweats were significantly less. Like, I barely sweat, to be honest with you. The bed wasn't even really wet in the morning. So I think, eating carbs at night has a lot to do with the sweats. It's just ramping up that metabolism, and you're burning it off like a furnace because, that's what Tren does. But man, if you don't change your sheets daily, like they're gonna reek. And this is crazy too. But man, Tren has its own unique smell. Like it's very musty. Like the body odor of somebody on Tren is unique. And if you've run Tren, you know what I'm talking about. This is another thing. Okay, so finally it did happen, right? The thought of my partner's cheating on me. Man, it crossed my mind. And it's crazy, too, because, I know she never would in a million years. But it is interesting. Like, you will have these intrusive thoughts, even though you know they're not happening. It just kind of, pops into your head. So you definitely want to, make sure you're a strong-minded person when you're doing this and that you actually trust your partner. So that when you do have these crazy thoughts, you can either just tell them and you can laugh it off, or they can just reassure you that that's not happening, right? Because if they don't know, let's say you don't tell them you're on Tren and you don't tell them that this is a potential side effect, you just start accusing them and going crazy, they're gonna they might leave you. They may be like, this guy's crazy. But if you tell them this is gonna happen, and just to be sympathetic towards these feelings and just kind of reassure you're the only one, whatever. It can go a long way, guys. You know what I mean? It's not going to make you crazy, but you might have these, intrusive thoughts. If you talk with your partner about it, it's going to make it a lot better, honestly. So, irrational thoughts. This is another interesting side effect that I've found since starting Tren, and I think it's actually fairly common, is that I've become obsessed with bodybuilding. I live, breathe, sleep, eat, die bodybuilding. I love it. I always did, but, the Tren has made it even more extreme. I fucking love bodybuilding. So, hey, it is what it is. I will say this. Tren doesn't make me angry. I'm not saying that it won't make you angry, but if anything, to be honest, it's made me become more affectionate with my wife and more open with her. So, that is a very interesting and unique thing, from my experience that I haven't heard anybody else talk about. But to be honest, I feel like in a lot of ways it's actually been good for my relationship. So, take that for what it is. I do a lot of harm mitigation, guys. I do everything I can possible to stay healthy while I'm taking this stuff, and I suggest you do that too. If you're interested in exactly what I do to stay healthy and harm mitigate, check out my channel. I definitely have videos on there about harm mitigation and how to stay healthy on Tren. So definitely check that out. I will be getting blood work done here actually in the next month or so. We're going to see how I'm holding up. And I'm going to post all that, obviously, on this channel for you guys so we can go over my blood work together. And hopefully we can keep running the cycle. But, all right, if you made it this far, guys, I love you. I appreciate all of you. If you're not subscribed, please consider it. You know what I mean? Leave me a comment, thumbs up, whatever. I love you guys. Peace out. Till next time.